Did you know that kinky wellness is integral to your self-development? Hi, welcome to the Partition, home of kinky wellness, the ultimate destination to explore the integral connection between kinky wellness and your personal development. I'm your host and kinky wellness coach, Dana Shergill, and each Monday I bring on a special guest to dive into specific aspects of kinky wellness. From unconventional practices to thought-provoking conversations, I'm here to break down barriers and redefine the boundaries of wellness and pleasure. Don't forget to join me for my solo shows on Wednesdays, where I explore even further into the multifaceted layers of kinky wellness. So let's strip away the shame and taboo together and have an open conversation about it. Hey, and welcome back. In this episode of the Partition podcast, certified sex educator and relationship coach Rae Szereszewski is back to tell us everything we need to know on how to throw a sex party. From what elements make a good party, to what to do if a problem arises, and everything in between. Rae is packing in as much information as she can, so without further ado, let's welcome Rae back to the show. Welcome back to the show, Rae. How are you doing today?
Oh my God, I'm living my best life today. Sun is shining. Had some great meetings this morning. My hair is doing the curly girl thing. Life is good over here.
Life is good. Yes. Well, today we're going to get even better because we're going to be discussing how to throw a sex party.
Yeah. Not only are we going to talk about how to throw a sex party, I'm going to talk about what to do if you hate event planning, what you can do instead to get to a sex party as well. There's going to be lots of options for all of our listeners today. And if you're just here to be a little bit of a pervert voyeur, all good. I'm not going to be using my sexy voice. Hope you find this attractive.
Well, why don't we start with first defining what in terms makes a sex party? How is it different from other social events? Obviously, there's a little bit of playing there, but it might not always include sex all the time.
Well, there's lots of different kinds of play parties is typically what we would call them. Sex party is a little bit too, people think penetration, but there's so much more you can do. A regular party that you go to, typically people leave their clothes on unless you're all really comfortable with each other. Even if there's a hot tub, people are wearing bathing suits, Maybe you're having a barbecue in the backyard, chit-chatting with the friends, popping a little brewski, that's a regular summer party. But a play party is for the explicit purpose of gathering sex-positive people together who maybe want to fuck. And fucking doesn't just mean penetration. It could be hand stuff. It could be a kink party. It could be something where you're just doing kink scenes, but there is no penetration at all. It could be both. It could be all of the above. It could be an orgy party. It could be a bunch of couples playing beside each other. It could be a 3-person threesome party that you're throwing. There's no cap on, or I guess I should say no minimum on who is coming to the sex party. Does that answer the question?
Well, I actually like it because in the sense of it broadens it, because you're right. I think when people hear sex, they immediately think penetration, and it is reminding people that sex is also broad and it means different things. So of course there's going to be different types and even different types of kinks and niches and things like that. So when you're first deciding to throw one, I think really in mind, kind of what do you want? Do you want this to be kinky? Do you want this kind of not? Do you just want the straight sex part of it? So it's really thinking about what the end goal is.
Yeah. And there's also so many different ways to throw a party. So similar to if you think about throwing a regular party, you've got your board game friends. You would have a board game night. And then you have your we just drink and dance friends. And you have a drink and dance night. Or you have we're gonna put on rubber and go clubbing friends, right? And when it comes to sex parties, you have the same things. You might have the friends you invite over to play strip, drunk, Scrabble. And if shit happens. But at the worst, you feel like you're in high school, but can actually make out with someone without feeling nervous. If you are a dance party person, I know people who are throwing private 100 people show up, their living room has a DJ kind of party and the basement has mattress on the floor and they've got the playroom that's just all mattresses on the floor and it's cozy. So there's play parties like that as well. So that's one. And then you've got the people who are yeah, I actually have access to some really cool furniture. Do we want to get together and do a scene together or just have furniture available where anyone can scene if they want to and we can all sort of watch or interact? And then there's fun parties where you just go to a club and you just invite all your friends and you don't need to plan anything. You're just all planning to go to Oasis Aqua Lounge or X Club or the Playground TO event or the Birdhouse Kinbaku rope salon happening, cross event happening. You can choose to bring a group of friends and do a pre-party and then go to the event and do a post-party as well at your house. And I don't want people who are listening to think that they need to be rich to host a play party.
Mm.
As long as you've got somewhere, a surface, a comfortable surface, so people aren't getting rug burn or like knee pain and have to wear knee pads, you'll be fine. You could do it in a kitchen if bring the right pillows. So all I really want to say is like, yes, you want to think about your space. Is your space going to be a great place to host? Do you have a different place you can host? If you have a budget, do you want to rent an Airbnb or a hotel? Do you want to just go to a party that's going to provide the furniture that you need and play publicly? Do you want this to be a little private affair? And I also know people usually typically think about like, this is going to be a late night party and we're going to go till 1 or 2 a.m. If everyone in your group is usually in bed by 11, starting the party at 9 is a mistake. No one's going to be awake enough to fuck. Find out, do a poll. When do y'all usually like to fuck? If everyone's like, I'm horniest at 2 p.m, you're throwing a darty, a day party. My husband hates when I say darty, so I use it all the time.
That's so funny. Well, honestly, bring back the darties because, like, I feel like I'm that. I can't stay up late anymore. And honestly, during the day, it is fun and you can create the ambiance yourself. And that's so good about when you are throwing a party, you're in control of what the feeling is.
Yeah. And this is why we're calling it like throwing your summer sex party. And that's specifically because in the summer, daylight hours are later, but you can also like have those lazy afternoons that feel so delightful in the summer. Like in the winter, in the afternoon, it's dark. You want to be watching movies on the couch. No one feels sexy. No one's shaving their legs. But in the summer, you want to be like interacting and going out and socializing. You've got the sunlight energy. And if you're an introvert, you are forced to do all of these things anyway. So you might as well roll with it. But okay, your original question was, what does the space need to be like? And what are things that should be in the space? So you want to think about, obviously, who are you inviting based off the space you have available? What furniture do you have available? Do you have mattress protectors? You're going to want to buy a mattress protector if you're throwing a sex party, just because no one wants to be fucking on a tarp, unless you're doing something that involves fucking on a tarp.
Yeah.
That might be more fetish related, but that's part of it. You want to think about like, okay, are you providing condoms or are other people bringing their own? Most people have extra condoms lying around just to be safe. There's usually a few, like whatever lube you're using, you can provide that. And you can say to people like, bring your own condoms and lube, the same way you would say, bring your own beer. If you are a fetish person, I know some people who have like an extensive toy collection. And when people are over, they will have their personal pieces and they'll have their lending pieces and allow people to come and experiment and play and try something different and be like, oh, this is nice. Where'd you get this from? Almost like a sex toy party, but for floggers, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I also know people where they're like, oh, you have a magic wand? Can I try it? Sure. You slap a condom on the head of it and you share the magic wand. And so there is some toy sharing. And so you want to make sure that you're being aware, like what toys do you have? What toys do you want people to bring? Air conditioning. Do you have air conditioning? Are you going to need more air conditioning? Do you need to plug in a fan? Do you have a scented candle lit so that it's not going to be the overwhelming stench of sex? Can you crack a window when you're done? Can you crack a window during? These are all like, you think about the space that you're in. And then you think about it like, how would you host a regular party? Is there a specific playlist you want to have on? Pick a playlist that you want to listen to. Like, is it a kink party and it's just Best of Rammstein because you're lazy? Or are you going to put on a more sensual domination type of playlist? Are you the kind of people who like EDM and beats, or are y'all into emo and you want to be yelling, I'm not okay to My Chemical Romance while someone's inside of you? Like, what do you want to listen to when you're fucking? Is it just Taylor Swift? Are we listening to only Tortured Poets Department and soft sighs while we fuck? Like, what is it that you want? Think of your music, put on some music, put on, like, that's it. Or are you playing porn in the background? Do you have one of those projector screens and you've got like porn on mute or on quiet? So you've got something sexy for people to look at in the background. Porn is very particular. Some people are really into porn. Some people aren't. Please keep that in mind. But like, what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you tasting? And this takes me to snacks. Obviously, you don't want to be bloated at the sex party, but you don't want people to be starving. I did go to a sex party once and I was like, oh, I know these are cocaine people because there was one bag of chips on the table and this party started at 9 p.m. Like, that was my initial thought. I was like, these people are on drugs because there's one bag of chips and I'm a hungry girl. And all I want to do is eat at 9, 10 p.m. So I recommend thinking about what is a non-bloating snack that you can provide in case people are hungry, or some people like to eat to calm their nerves. So provide a little bit. Don't do like a taco truck, like that's going to be too filling. Think like a veggie platter, maybe some chips, maybe some like light refreshments, have the beers out, things like that. And then if you are like really thinking ahead, pre-order your pizza delivery for about 5 hours into the party. the time when everyone's like, do I continue or do I stop? I'm not sure, but I know that I'm a little bit hungry. Everyone will want like, obviously if you're gluten-free, then like you're going to come up with a different option. But like the sushi delivery, the pizza delivery, the whatever's in your budget delivery is going to happen. Even if people are contributing for it and you're like $5 for this, because I don't want people to think they can't throw a sex party because they are not as like flush with cash right now. So what are you tasting might also be like, are you going to provide cute little like charcuterie that's like all dessert with chocolate syrup so that people can choose to make it a sexy thing? Are you going to be doing tequila shots off each other's body? I love when I'm flirting with someone new and I'll be like, well, we're doing a tequila shot, but I'm going to need some salt. And I just like pick them by the neck and lick up their neck and do the shot. Like, how can you be flirty like that? How can you incorporate these things into the play in some way? Not everyone's into combining food with their play. That's fine. Not all of us are into splashing, but can we? Is there something you can provide that if someone thought it would be sexy or delectable to include that, could that be included? And is that chocolate syrup? Or is that just like eating strawberries? Or is it that your partner is the food platter when everybody arrives?
These are all great things to consider. And honestly, it's about giving options. You should have the option there that if somebody wants to include food, the option is there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like, as you can tell, I'm really passionate about event planning, but dirty event planning. I would say that like if you are inviting a group of strangers who do not know each other, you're friends with all of them, but they don't know each other. There are two things you're going to want to do. Okay, I don't want to say obviously. This is if it's small. If you're like at an intimate group where you would all be able to have a full conversation with everyone at the party in the evening, intimate group. You want to make sure that you are creating opportunities for people to talk about STI status, likes and dislikes, and play an icebreaker game, even if it's truth or dare or spin the bottle or like shrimp drunk Scrabble or I love Jungle Speed. Like if you know Jungle Speed, it's like a game where you have to wrestle for a totem, but you can amend it and be like, every time you lose, you have to take off an article of clothing, and then people are naked wrestling. I know that you, Dana, are probably very into that idea for
I
a
was
game.
like wrestling all the way. Like, bring it.
You let me know if you need to test us out, me, you, and Anu, and whatever other partners we feel like inviting. We can. I got Jungle Speed. So
That's awesome.
it's great for people who need a bit of an easing into it, a bit of an icebreaker. There's obviously those like Esther Perel emotional intimacy cards, but not everyone's into emotional intimacy before they fuck. If you have a bunch of demisexual friends who like kind of want to but are nervous or like do need to feel a connection, consider an intimate connection game before getting into the sexy games. Like, there are so many card games out there that are about developing emotional intimacy and like talking about the serious things. So play one of those games.
And also, I think it's a good idea even to play the games, but also like even Oasis, those bracelets that they have, or if you have like a name tag that kind of has like the I'm curious or I'm here to watch or kind of like some sort of indication. And then maybe you look across the room and you see somebody else with the same color bracelet and you're like, you know what? This is a good enough opportunity to communicate.
Right. So you're talking about the Oasis bracelets. Most people just pick up the red, which means I'm not down to play. Don't interact with me. A lot of people pick up the green, which means everything is a go. I'm down to play. I'm down for anything. Come approach. I'm here to have a good time. And then there's other colors that mean like just here to talk to women, just here to talk to men, just here to talk, not here to play, but open to conversation. There's like all those kinds of things that you can do. If you are inviting people to a private party, you're going to want to consider how to facilitate that like conversation or that kind of a discussion. I know that in the States where sex clubs are not legal, they have what are called these private groups who throw private parties, and you need to apply, get vetted, and they have a strict code of conduct, and they'll have for any new people an orientation that you need to attend where they explain all the rules and do some icebreakers. And even at these parties, they'll maybe do icebreakers and then everybody's fucking. Or fucking here is a broad term. Fucking does not mean just like penetration to me. Everybody's playing. And that's another way of doing it. So you can say, I'm starting a private group and you need to be vetted. And here's a Google form that I need you to fill out. And for you to come to this party, you need to be interviewed by me on Zoom. It's not just me and my private friends. I will say it is more fun when you're just inviting your friends, because when you're creating an organization like that, you have the admin, you have the follow-up, and it sometimes gets like bigger than what you want it to be. So if you're going to do something like that, make sure that you're on top of your admin and fully prepared to host and manage all of those things.
Absolutely. And you also mentioned things like code of conduct, which brings us to how to handle consent and respect and just keeping people from getting too out of hand and things like that, especially when you're throwing your own party.
So once again, depends on the size of people. If it's under 6, typically everyone kind of knows each other and everyone's doing a really good job with their verbal consent. And I'm going to get into consent very shortly because I think that's a different topic we need to discuss. When it's a bigger party, you'll typically have a code of conduct and someone will be walking around. And if they find out that someone has broken a rule, they'll either be removed and banned from ever coming back. And people will spread it around the group that like this person is not trustworthy to play with. So you want to get really good with your consent, but you don't want to let concern and worry about consent keep you from playing, which is what we'll talk about in a second. Every single play space has this bare minimum rule that you do not touch without asking first. Even if you're playing an icebreaker game, okay, we're playing spin the bottle and it's all about kissing, you will still make eye contact and say, are you cool if we kiss? You know, like, can I kiss you? And if the person's like, yes or no, right? Or even if you're doing truth or dare, if someone's like, I don't want to do that dare, you go, okay, we'll give you a new dare. And you find a dare that that person wants to do. Mm-hmm. So consent first, nothing anybody doesn't want to do. And we are using our words. If you come from vanilla culture and you've just had a threesome in a tent with your bros one night on like a camping trip, real story that happened to a friend, maybe you're used to like it being fueled by drugs or alcohol. And you're like, oh, our inhibitions are lowered. We're just kind of going with it. We're just going to go. Not at a play party. You are using your words. Hello, I would like to have a brief conversation about STI status before we play. Hi, I'm Rae. I do not like my ears being touched. Do not lick my ears, ever. Do not breathe in them. Do not whisper in them. Do not talk to me if your face is right beside my ear. Pull your face farther away or we will be done here, right? I like this kind of touch. I like that kind of touch. You are verbally saying what you want. You're not waiting for someone to do it and then saying no. And you are not saying, if I do anything that makes you uncomfortable, you'll say no, you'll tell me to stop, right? No, fuck you. That is not how we do it anymore. That is not creating opportunities for people to say what they want and like. And it creates a lot of pressure on people pleasers to just go with the flow. And there are a lot of people pleasers who come to these parties. And this is when people go, well, shouldn't those people have really great boundaries and get better at saying no? Yeah, theoretically. But one of the places that we practice saying no and practice having healthy boundaries is in a space where it's safe to say no. And people give you the opportunity to say yes or no. And being able to practice your yes is just as important to having strong boundaries as being able to practice your no. So let's say you are at one of these massive 100-person DJ house parties and you're on the dance floor having a good time. And someone comes up to you and says, would you like to dance? And you're like, sure, because you're dancing a few feet apart. And then they start grinding on you. And now you're like, oh, I didn't realize that this is what they meant by would you like to dance? I thought they meant, can we look at each other and maybe touch each other a little bit with a hand on the shoulder and slowly move together as we want. I didn't realize I was going to get backed into a couch while this person's grinding on me, right? At which point, if that person sees on your face that you're like, I don't know how I feel about this, or I'm kind of trapped, it's not on them to say, oh, are you okay with this? Oh, you'll tell me if you want me to stop, right? If you are going to do that, you back up. You create physical space between you and the person. And then you would say something like, are you okay if we dance that close? And you create the space. Or you just create the space and say like, I would love to keep dancing with you. And if that person comes to you and starts grinding on you, then it means that they were comfortable and they liked it and they're happy. But you need to create physical space. In the same way with dancing, where that's a thing that you need to do, when it comes to sex, you cannot just put your hand on someone's throat and hope they will move it if they're not into choking. You need to say, how do you feel about rough play? How do you feel about choking? How do you feel about getting a little aggressive and biting and spanking? What are the things that you're into? How would you feel if I slapped you in the face, right? And people will tell you, but you need to ask, how do you feel about these things? And you do it before you are doing it. You do not ask while you are doing it, because that is not creating space for someone to actively, consciously think about if they are into it or not. And if you are in a play space and you meet someone who is not comfortable verbalizing their wants and needs, then fine. You can take a second and back off and be like, hey, I need you to tell me what you like. Because I'm not going to, if they're like really submissive, you can be like, I'm not doing anything to you unless you tell me what you want. And you make it sexy. You're like, you got to use your words. The only person being punished here is you. You want your real punishment? Tell me how you like it. That's a lot hotter than like, I'm really nervous right now. And can I choke you? Like, two different things. And you want to do that without being in the middle of choking them. Also, because when we're horny, we say yes to things that we would not say yes to when we're not horny.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I like your like honestly, like the idea of just making it a yes or no. Like I do feel like some people they think they're making an attempt to ask for consent, but they do ask it in a way where there is really one answer because it's not giving the space for yes or no at all. It's just like, oh, I'm gonna do this, you tell me. It's like, no, I don't know, because you're already being super aggressive and getting in my space, my energy, and it's just overpowering.
Right. And I'm not quite sure how to get out of this right now in a way that makes me feel safe. If you have aggressive energy and I am a conflict avoidant or averse person, that is a non-gendered statement. It's not like women are conflict averse and afraid of men. I know lots of men who are conflict averse, and they too will avoid saying no in that moment. So we are trying to make sure that we are asking everybody. It is not on just the pursuer and the pursued. Because when it comes to sex and having sex with someone, you are both supposed to be the pursuer. You should both want and like what is about to happen. So if you are both wanting, liking this, and having sex with someone else, then you both need to be confirming consent. I'm going to give like another more fetishy example, but like there's this like baby kinksters are like the submissive is really in charge and the dom is the one who's just making the submissive's dream come true. And I'm like, no, it's a scene that's an interplay between both people. And if the sub is asking for something that the dom is uncomfortable doing, the dom is also allowed to say no. I will give my example of this is like I will never humiliate someone, or if I will, it has to be a very particular relationship. I'm not just going to humiliate a stranger. That doesn't feel good. But also, I will never humiliate someone that I care about because I don't want to get in the mindset of that being okay. It feels too mean to me. I'm uncomfortable. So anytime I've had someone in the past be like, hey, how do you feel about like being humiliating or like talking shit about me during bed and talking about how disgusting I am? I'm like, nope. I've had guys be like, talk about how small my dick is. I'm like, absolutely not. I will not be speaking about your body in negative terms because it's too easy to train my brain to start thinking about bodies like that. And I'm not doing that to my brain. And I'm allowed to have that boundary. So
Absolutely.
it shouldn't be, I want you to humiliate. Like sometimes saying I want is not the same as saying do it. And I'm going to circle back to that in a second. But it's on the submissive to also say, how do you feel about using humiliating language when you talk to me? How would you feel about calling me a slut? Great, I'll call you a slut. How would you feel about saying I've got a tiny dick? Nope, I will not be doing that. Right? I'm willing to tell you that you are like, other things and call you dirty, derogatory language potentially, but within my boundaries. So that's a conversation too. What are you as the dom comfortable doing? It is a conversation between both. Even if you are submissive, you need to practice asking for consent from your doms for things that you want to do. And we all need to learn that someone saying, I want to do this is not the same as saying, you have to do this. I would like to do humiliation play. How do you feel about that? I do not want to do humiliation play. Can we do something else or should we play with other people? Right? And people get lost in the whole, well, I'm attracted to this person, therefore we must play. You can just live in that attraction and enjoy it and go, you know what? We are not into the same kind of sex. This will not make us feel good. This will not make us feel safe. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for the flirtation. Maybe let's make eyes at each other across the room while we're fucking other people. Another thing that I just want to quickly add about consent is consent under the influence, because at a lot of these parties, people are drinking, there are people using drugs, and that can make it really hard to read social cues. So sometimes we think we're doing a really good job of creating space for people to say yes or no and creating good consent, but you can't read body language as well when you're inebriated, and people can't read your body language as well when you're inebriated. This is why we need to get good at using our words, because we need to be able to clarify and check in. And I would much rather be annoying about how much I'm checking in and have someone get annoyed with and not check in enough and have that person feel like they had a boundary violated. So the more you know someone, the easier it will be to read their cues even when inebriated. But if you're playing with strangers, you must err on the side of checking in with your words and not just like creating space for that no, like, or not creating space, or not just like hoping for that yes, like you'll tell me if you're uncomfortable, right? It's like, okay, cool. But if that person's uncomfortable, then they could also not be feeling safe to say no in that moment. They might not know how to say no in that moment because of that discomfort and the way that brains work. So once again, using your words and creating space, physical space for the no.
Yeah. And what the key element here is all of these things have a conversation before. I think a misconception when we go to these things is that there isn't these types of conversations for new people showing up. They just think like, oh, there's just going to be sex on the table and it's like a buffet. And it's like, no, there's still the conversations that happen beforehand too.
Like it can be an orgy and you can fuck strangers, but like it also, from what I've seen, it's a lot of people sort of playing with people they already know. So you'll
Mm,
go to a party one time and then you make a friend and you chit chat a bit and you're like, you going back to the party? Kind of make a date to maybe hook up at the next one.
mm,
The other thing that I find really interesting about some of these spaces is people assume that just because people are there means that there's no relationship drama, no undercurrents happening, nothing happening below the surface. Everyone's just there to come in, disrobe, and have sex with everybody that they want to have sex with. There are so many people who are having complex relational dynamics that they themselves are navigating, have their own boundaries and agreements that they're trying to adhere to. And you'll notice in swinger culture, a lot of the question of like, well, what does your partner let you do? Oh
mm.
no, my partner doesn't let me do that. Fine, that's swinger culture. They're going to do them. I think that that's a little bit toxic monogamy culture imported, but that's a different podcast entirely. Um, so fine, you might have someone say, okay, what does your partner let you do? And you just say, okay, this is what my boundaries are. This is what I'm comfortable doing. This is what I'm going to do tonight. And the other thing is your partner might let you do a lot of things. Doesn't mean you have to do them at that party. And let you is a whole other thing. You and your partner could have agreements that you're respecting. And those agreements are very broad. And you still might be like, I'm just doing oral tonight. I'm not in the mood for anything else. Right? I'm only doing flogging scenes, no penetration. That's fine too. I have been to certain spaces where people make assumptions about who's open to play or not. And it's like, this is not the place for us to be getting into the complex relational dynamics that impact the agreements I've made with my partner, my multiple partners, my this, my that. And so they may just say, like, I'm not playing tonight, or I'm just here to play with my partners tonight. And that's fine too. You can go to one of these parties and not play, or just be there to play with your partners, or just be like, you know what, this is too many things. So I'm just going to clearly articulate what I can do with this person right now. And if they're not willing to do that with me, then we will move on. And what I can do could be, yeah, we can absolutely play, but my partner has to watch. That's my agreement with them. Like, if that's something that you're not comfortable with doing, all good. I'll find someone else, or I'll just fuck my partner, or play with my partner, or do kink scenes with my partner, whatever it is.
Absolutely. Now, what was the concept that you wanted to loop back to? But before we move on from it.
Oh, it was the want versus like saying I want is not the same as you must.
Mm-hmm.
I want is a statement of desire. If someone says, if you are a people pleaser, I'm talking to you people pleasers listening to the podcast. When someone says, I want to do this, you need to understand that they are not giving a command. They are making a request, or they're just stating a feeling. They're
Mm-hmm.
stating their feeling. And if you feel pressured, you need to ask yourself, do I feel pressured because I'm a people pleaser? Do I feel pressured because I said no and this person is continuing to push? You know, all of those things. So that's something to keep in mind when you go into this space. Am I a people pleaser? What do I need to know and prepare mentally to be able to do? Is it to be able to say the word no clearly? Is it to be able to work on my soft nose and make those a little clear, like I'm just going to the bathroom, or maybe later, or whatever? If you are the kind of person who is bad with social cues and are learning how to get better with social cues, I just need to go to the bathroom. They're not interested. I'm going to the bathroom. I will meet you back here. They are interested. I see my friend. Maybe they're interested, but they're interested in talking to their friend more.
Mm.
I will find you later. They're interested. I will find you later if I want to play. They will find you later if they want to play. Do not be wait by the door person waiting for them to find you. Go do your own thing. Go talk to other people. Go figure out other options. Live your best life. Do not just be waiting for that person.
And that's a life advice.
Yeah. I know that we veered a little bit away from planning the sex party and more into sex party dynamics. I hope
No,
that's
but
okay.
honestly, I think this also works. These are things that people need to know, because I do think that people think that there is this message where you go in and everyone knows what they're doing. But
Oh
a
no,
lot of
everyone's taking Viagra.
Everyone is learning as well. And even if you go to a play party like over and over and over again, there's always something to learn, I think, because you're meeting other people, you're meeting other dynamics, things are going to come up. It's always brand new.
Yeah. And actually, I know I made that joke, but I am going to clarify for all of the nervous penis havers out there. A lot of people take Viagra if they're going to a group setting and they're nervous. That is a very common thing. It's like a not so secret. And it's because people want to take the anxiety out of performance.
Mm.
And here's another thing people don't know. Yes, you can pack lube. If you're the kind of person who struggles with arousal fluid, yes, you can bring lube. Lube is totally fine. Bring lube. Do the things that are going to make it easy for you to have sex if you want to. It's okay. And there was one other thing that I wanted to bring up, and now I'm trying to remember what it was. It was Viagra, pack and lube. There was one other. Oh, nobody comes. Obviously, some people come, but if you go into it expecting that nobody's going to have an orgasm and your goal is to have a great time, you're going to have a great time. The pressure will be off and maybe you will orgasm. But if you go in there expecting that you have to orgasm and that it is over when you orgasm, or you must have a certain amount of orgasms, or you must give your partner a certain amount of orgasms for the night to be a success, I'm going to advise you to pick a different goal for the evening.
That's just too much pressure. And you lock yourself into this, like, you're not in the moment. You're just in your head.
Mm-hmm. And like, is it happening? Is it not? Am I building? And like, some people will go to a sex party or a whatever party and they don't come. It's just, there's a lot of people watching. It's an unfamiliar setting and their brain just is sort of on high alert. So while they're having a great time experiencing everything, they come when they get home and they finish the job, thinking about all of the amazing things. And I've also noticed that there's kind of like there's a post play party high, horny high that you get into for a few days where even though you maybe orgasmed at the party and you were totally satisfied, or you orgasmed after the party and were totally satisfied, for a day or two after, you're just going to be so horny, assuming that you are not asexual. You are going to be so horny. You're going to want to have sex all the time. You're going to want to line up your rotation. You're going to be that person with like the bruised pelvis and you're going to fucking live for it because you are just so horny after, because you're living off that like arousal high, assuming that the party went well, you had a great time and you didn't end up getting triggered.
Well, speaking of if the party goes well, so of course, in some parties, things don't go so well and problems do come up. So we can go a little bit into some mistakes or if somebody gets out of hand or problems that can just show up.
Yeah. So honestly, there are two main issues that will happen in these spaces. And one is somebody is not respecting consent. And at that point, it is on the community to kick that person out. Whether it's like, if someone is not respecting people's boundaries, then like you can, if it's a private small party, usually you trust your friends and nothing's happening. But in that case, you would want to theoretically pause what's happening, give yourself time to process what happened. If you're like, something here feels wrong, but I don't know what, say, okay, you know what? I think I'm done playing for the day. You can process it in the moment and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Something that was real fucked and I am not happy with this and the party is over and I'm telling everyone it's time to leave. If it's not your house, you're like, listen, I'm feeling like I need time. Give yourself time to process, exit the party. Once you have calmed down and you've encoded the information that happened and you're able to process what wasn't okay or what was, you can decide to contact the party hosts, or you can choose to say to that person, have a conversation like, you know what? I felt there was a boundary violation. I'm not comfortable playing with you again. Or you can ghost. You can be like, there was a boundary violation. I am not comfortable talking to this person. They're just never invited back to a party that I throw. You can ghost. I give you permission to ghost. You don't need to put yourself in a position to re-traumatize yourself in that moment if you're busy figuring out what happened. If they're a friend who you think cares for you, then you could choose to have a conversation if you want, or you can ghost. If it is someone who is at the party, you can once again contact the host and be like, I felt really uncomfortable with this thing that happened. And then that's where the complex friendship dynamics come in, but that would be the thing. If you observe something happening at a big party and someone is doing something non-consensual, boot that person out. There is no awkward social dynamics you need to navigate at a big party. It is just they followed the rules of consent or they didn't. And if someone's like, no, it was a misunderstanding, okay, we will talk about it tomorrow. But for now, you need to leave. We will have a conversation. I will talk to everyone involved, maybe a witness. You record that information and you say, okay, party host, this happened. We need to debrief it. That's honestly the best practices. Will everyone do that? Not necessarily. Is that what should be happening? Absolutely.
Yes.
That's what happens at clubs. That's what security is hired for.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. I was going to say, and if you are choosing to be the host, like, and you want to throw your own, you really have to have that responsibility to do something. Like, you can't just shove things under the rug. You can't be a host and turn a blind eye and let this thing keep happening. So that's a responsibility if you are planning to throw something like this.
Yeah. When I do university bystander awareness training as part of my consent workshops, I use like the altruistic Green Dot Institute metaphor because they're great. It's like the 3 Ds: direct, delegate, and distract. Direct intervention. You go up and you say, cut that shit out. Delegate. Go to the party host. Something is happening. I need your support. Go to security. Something is happening. I need some support. Can you deal with this? And then distract would be you see something non-consensual potentially happening, but you can't tell. You want to check in on the person. Spill a drink. Oh my God, I am so sorry. I'm so clumsy. Oh my God, we have to clean that up. Can you help me clean up? Hey, are you okay? Do you need any support right now? Is there something that, I just wanted to check in because I couldn't read your body language at that moment, but I was worried there was a boundary violation happening. You don't have to say something non-consensual. You can just say, I was worried there was a boundary violation. If we say, I thought you were being assaulted, it's a bit hardcore. Boundary violation creates a lot more areas and room for all the small things that can happen that make it so that someone might not get kicked out, but there might be a conversation around boundaries and better respect of boundaries and how to talk about consent.
Mm-hmm. And also
What?
taking into the fact, like, sometimes we really don't know what's going on the whole time.
Mhm.
Like, so I like that.
Yeah. The thing that I actually see happen more often is couples getting into fights.
Mm.
So if you are like someone gets jealous in the moment and doesn't realize they would and wasn't prepared for it and doesn't know how to handle it, and now everyone is in the room and drawn into their argument. If you are upset about something, you find a polite way to extricate yourself and you go have that conversation outside. Maybe you need clarity. Maybe it was like, oh, I thought this was okay. Maybe your partner did break an agreement that you had and they're like, I was lost in the moment. And you're like, boundary violation. That is not okay. This is a thing we agreed to. We cannot play at this party if you cannot keep to the boundaries. And both of you need to keep to agreed upon boundaries. You can't say before the party, we must use condoms, and then get to the party and be like, fuck it. We're not going to use condoms with all these people. You have to be maintaining your boundaries as well. Don't let horny brain take over. Come prepared. If you know that you're bad with condoms, stuffed pockets with condoms. Bring a little garter belt and stuff condoms in that. Bring a fanny pack with safer sex supplies lying around, right? Like, there are ways to prepare yourself to make sure that you are ready to go. I also know a lot of people who need like custom condom sizing because they're like, I need mine short but thick. I need mine long and skinny. Like, if you know that you have a partner or you as the person with a penis need special condoms, carry them on you. Don't get the elastic band around the wrist syndrome and have it ruin your night. Prepare. Think ahead.
Now, I know you've mentioned one in the previous podcast, but where's somewhere where someone might be able to get a custom condom?
My One Condom does custom fit condoms, but I've noticed that the Stag Shop actually is carrying a lot more brands with a lot of variety. So sometimes it's about getting a bunch of different brands and looking at what they have. Is it extra long or extra wide, and experimenting until you find the ones that work. So like if you need extra long, Magnums are longer, not wider. There's other brands that create wider, not just longer, or wider without longer. And I cannot remember which one's off the top of my head, but you want to be checking the packages and you want to check the description, and then you want to experiment with them in your own time.
Absolutely. And then after the party, like when say the party's wrapping up and the host, it's time to clean up. I think that's where you planning ahead really comes into play here. Like, are people sleeping over? Are you allowing people to sleep over? Is this a time thing? And what happens after the fact? Are you going to follow up with your guests? Do you not?
Those are all really great questions. And I think you hit the nail on the head and covered a lot of the things to consider. So yes, if there's going to be people sleeping over, do you have accommodations for that? Usually if someone's a close friend and they're from out of town, they'll be like, can I sleep over after? If it is going to be one big sleepover, you want to make sure that you have accommodations ready. Fresh sheets, a guest room, even just, we're going to switch the sheets. We're going to air this out before we go to bed. Once again, that midnight pizza is going to be a lifesaver if you're a daytime person, or the 4 a.m. pizza, depending on what time your party starts. When it comes to any good party, are you sending thank you cards? It can just be a thank you for coming, or that was great, would love to play again. Or you could even do a check-in and say like, hey, I had a really great time right now or last night. Do you have any feedback we can do to make it better? Would you be willing to come to this again? And if the answer is no, can you tell me why? Because I'd love to do better in the future. The same way that you would do a partner check-in, you can do a post-party feedback check-in.
Absolutely. I actually think that's cute. There's like an ending to it because, yeah, you do need, I would do that. I think it is exactly like a party in the sense. But I think when you want to tailor a party to, like, there's other considerations. If you do want to go into the more fetish or BDSM, like, I know that there's some parties that I've looked at where if you are a sub, it needs to be, that person needs to be leashed or their dom needs to be there. So you can take your play party and go the next level, or you can just keep it chill.
I have never been to a play party where all the subs have to be leashed.
I've seen it on I've seen it on FetLife. I've seen some where it was a requirement, like actual.
So that is the best part about throwing a private play party is you get to create whatever rules you want to create. So if you're like, I want a fantasy where all of the subs are leashed, create that fantasy. I want to be at a party and all the subs have to mud wrestle and it's going to be submissive mud wrestling night. Great. Set that up. Do it up. Like, do whatever you want. If you're like, this is a party where all the doms get together and use their subs as furniture and it's sub furniture night, right? Like, you get to throw whatever theme party you want, and then you can curate the guest list. So either you make it an open call, you put up a FetLife event, you're like, open call for this. If you want to come to the party, contact me to be vetted. Or you call all your friends that you know are into kink and be like, I want to throw a human furniture party. You guys in? Great. This is the day. This is the night. Or you set out, you do one of those doodle polls, like, what is a night that everybody is available? And you don't necessarily even need to make a FetLife event. I see people put their private FetLife events up and then share the link. I'm like, I'll just send I start WhatsApp group messages when I want to do parties. I'm like, we're just going to do a group chat. We're going to see who's around. We're going to have a little chit chat. And then that also allows people to get to know each other a bit if they don't know each other yet. Like, they can chat and sort of become familiar. But there's different ways. There's no right or wrong way to do it. There's like your way and the system that works for you. As long as you're making sure to think about, how can I be proactive about consent? How can I be proactive about making sure everyone's comfortable before, during, after? The same way you would prepare for a kink scene, you're going to prepare for your party.
Well, when it goes to vetting people, like say somebody wants to host it and they open it up, what type of questions would you ask to vet somebody?
I've seen a lot of different forms from a bunch of the parties in New York because I have a friend and I had to help her apply for a bunch of them because she hates typing out her thoughts. And a lot of the questions that I've seen are everything from like, what does consent mean to you? Have you been to a party like this before? If yes, tell us about it. How did you hear about us? How did you find out about the party? Do you have one person who can vouch for you who is already in the group? Sometimes it's like word of mouth vouching. Other questions would be things like, I'm going to give you a scenario. What would you do in the scenario? Do you have any special talents or skills you would be bringing to the party that you want us to be aware of? Like, great at shibari, king of the floggers, really great with your finger game. Knows a really great icebreaker game that everyone can play. Willing to organize that icebreaker game, things like that. So all of those kinds of conversations are like things that you could put into your vetting form, or you can keep it simple and say, like, tell me your name, tell me your email, and schedule a Zoom call for us to have a conversation.
Which is so easy to do nowadays. And I think meeting beforehand is good. And also, I do think that it helps with creating the guest list because everything is so vulnerable and intimate and like fun as well. You kind of want people that drive together. If I was to throw one, I think I would probably do a smaller one where I think people drive together. I don't want the responsibility of a big party. I don't think that would be for me. But what would you do? Would you pick a smaller, go big?
Oh, it depends on the mood. I would never host a big party. Mostly because like, that's so much work. I already had a wedding. I don't need to do that again. I find that small parties are a lot more intimate, but I think it also depends on your partner. So if you have a really introverted partner or a demisexual partner, you're probably going to go the route of intimate. If you guys are like rave scene people who love going to big music festivals, throw the big party, do what you want, but think about how you're going to create comfort for the people that you want to be there.
Absolutely. Well, you got any last minute tips for first time hosts to ensure that their event is a pleasurable one for everybody?
Yeah, I guess my one last tip would be, remember, this is supposed to be fun. If you're not having fun, then think about what you can do to make it more fun. I know lots of people who say that hosting is fun for me, but then I can't focus on actually playing because I'm so worried about everyone having a good time and restocking the condom and lube or making sure the pizza gets delivered or all of those things. So in which case, I had a conversation with another sex educator that I know the other day on my Instagram Live, and we were laughing about like, hire us to come in and be your party minx is the phrase. Like, do you need someone to just come and like be like, I'm going to make sure that there's condoms. I'm going to keep an eye on play. I'm going to be watching body language. I'm going to make sure that the things are getting wiped down. I'm going to make sure that when everyone is spent, I'm the one picking up the tarp and like putting out the snacks and checking in and making sure that the party's going well and making sure that the playlist gets fixed when it ends and putting it back on or things like that. If you are like, I actually can't play if I feel like I have to host, then pick someone in the group who's happy to do that, or hire someone to come in if you're baller. Hire someone to come in and manage your party for you.
You could do that. Hire you.
Yeah.
Hire Rae.
I have done that.
Everybody do that.
Yeah, that's what I did at Oasis. I ran the icebreaker games and I checked in on people and make sure everyone was okay. And socialize. Like, that was what I did when I worked at Oasis.
Well, wonderful. Well, whereabouts can our listeners, I know that they should be following you at this point. If they aren't, then they should. But where else can they find you?
I have 2 Instagram accounts. My general sex ed and thirst trap account is thirst trap or sexy photos. Wife Bay Rae, WIFE, F like Foxtrot, BAE, B like Bravo, RAE. WIFEBAERAE, Wife Bay Rae. The other account, which is where you can find out about my coaching program. So like Wife Bay Rae will be all of the sex ed that I have coming up, all the virtual and in-person experiences. Share with Rae, share like to share partners, to share STIs, to share with Rae, RAE, is the account where you can find out about my coaching programs. So I have a free webinar coming up August 7th. I'm on vacation in July. So August 7th is non-monogamy for beginners, attack of the nomenclature. All the words you're going to encounter in swinger and polyculture that will be confusing. And if you don't want to sound or feel like you're inadequate or an idiot, come to this. You'll know all the words. It'll be fine. And then in September, I'm rerunning my Sharing is Caring Intro to Non-Monogamy course. This is 8 weeks of how to date intentionally and manage multiple relationships, poly. And I'm doing a new group about E&M better sex stuff happening in November. And that one is currently a secret, and you'll find out about it in the fall. So share with Rae for all of that, Wife Bay Rae for the sex ed. And that's everything from me, I think.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Always a pleasure, Rae. And until next time, and for my listeners, I'll see you guys on Wednesday. You all know what to do. Stay kinky.